Hi everyone, I'm Rincey and this is Rincey Reads. Today I'm going to be talking about Lucky Seed by Justinian Huang. Hopefully I pronounced that correctly. So this is a book I picked up completely on a whim. I was at my library. It was on like the new books or new releases shelf, and I just saw it and it caught my eye and I was like, you know what? I haven't read anything like fun so far this year or like lighthearted. I feel like I tend to lean towards like heavier books, more emotional books, things along those lines. And I was like, I just want something that's kind of just fun, a little silly, a little outrageous. And this book definitely delivered that. I'm going to try my best to summarize what's happening in this book. But like, this book is bonkers. I will say that right off the bat. So if you are someone who doesn't like your books to be just like crazy, this is not going to be the book for you. But if you enjoy things that are a little bit trashy, feels like such a derogatory term, but like just more over the top, then this is one worth checking out. So in this book, you are following this Asian family. They are the Sun clan, and they are like this billionaire family that own this like major corporation. And so the patriarch who like started all of this basically wrote it into his will that like the next male heir would like take over the company. And so like the patriarch gave it to his son, and then one of the sisters, Roses, ended up taking the company over. And then like after the father passed away, it was like in his will that like the next generation, the first grandchild or like the next child that was a male, that was like born of the family, not like a married in male, would end up like inheriting the Sun family trust. And so they're getting to the point now where like Roses is in charge, and she's starting to get like extremely worried about what's going to happen to her lineage. She believes that like if the lineage ends, then like all of the aunties of like her generation are going to be like hungry ghosts in the afterlife, which is like an Asian superstition. And so because of that, she ends up like trying to get her nephew to produce an heir, to like produce a son. Her nephew, Wayward, is a gay man. And so there are some like, complications along those lines. One, trying to convince him to do this, to become a father, to like go through like IVF and all of these different things and figuring out the situation of like how he is going to have an heir. But then there's also like Rose's daughter, who currently has a daughter, but she also had a son who passed away. And so there's like complicated family stuff regarding that. There are cousins who are involved in this situation. One of them is named Sunburn, or nicknamed Sunburn, who has been like cut out from like the money situation that's happening with the family. There's like the daughter of the son who, sorry, I'm not using all of the names. There's the daughter of the son who's like was ousted by Rose. And so she's like upset because like she should have had some level of like role within the company and things like that, but she doesn't because her father was ousted. And yeah, there's like a lot more characters who are all involved in this crazy web of like trying to produce an heir to get access to this major trust. There's like conflicts between the sisters and things along those lines. It's just a crazy family wild ride, and like it's impossible for me to just like do a really good summary of what's going on, but I think that's a good like first step in terms of like the wildness that you're having to deal with this book. So yeah, overall, like I enjoyed my experience with this book. Is this like my favorite book ever? No. There are comps in here like describing this as like Succession meets Crazy Rich Asians, which I can kind of see. I haven't watched the show Succession, but like that idea of like a really rich family and like the heirs and like the kids and grandkids and all of this stuff sort of fighting over ownership and fighting over rights, but also just like complicated family dynamics, especially like parent-child relationships. Wayward has a complicated relationship with his mother, who is like divorced or separated from her father. Sunburn has no idea who his father is, things along those lines. So like everyone has like their own different family dynamics that they're dealing with in regards to the other people in the family. The cousins, used to be close, and then they've kind of separated over the years for various reasons that you find out about over the course of the book. So I feel like if you are someone who enjoys those sorts of like really wild webs of stories, if you enjoy things that are like really over the top, slightly dramatic, just completely bonkers at times, then like this book is for you. The way I pitched this in the video that I did where I was like pitching every book that I read in the first quarter of the year is I basically said that if you are someone who loves mess, you'll love this book. And I think that's like the best way I could pitch this book. This book is just mess, period. Like I wouldn't say anyone in here is really like a quote unquote likable character. Everyone is messy. Everyone is making like bad life decisions, in my opinion. All of their relationships are complicated, and like all of them have made mistakes and hurt each other and all of these different things. It's kind of crazy. And there's like stuff that happens in here that I just like did not see coming, would not realize that it was going to go that far, sort of stuff. It is just rompy and silly and fun and just like perfect, in my opinion, for if you are looking for like a good rompy summer read. This could scratch that itch for you. The downsides I would say to this book is that there are a lot of characters in here. Like there's a whole family tree in the beginning of this story, and you are following like so many different people that like, one, you don't get like overly invested in one storyline over another, but there's just a lot happening. And I do think that like sometimes the switching back and forth between the various characters is not like well done. Like sometimes you're doing it in the middle of a chapter, and so like it very much feels like a soap opera in that sense of like you're switching scenes between different storylines, which I don't know if that works quite as well in book form. Like this feels like a book that would make a good like TV show, and probably be like a better TV show than a book for that reason, because there's so many different characters, so many different storylines, that it can feel like a bit much. And like depending on how you vibe with the book, you may or may not like care about some of the storylines. I will say there's like sex scenes in here, so if that's something that you don't enjoy in books, then like avoid this one. But yeah, I feel like if you are someone who is looking for like a good vacation read, something that's full of like drama and twists and hijinks, if you want something just like really over the top, this is a good book to pick up that I feel like not a lot of people know about. When my husband asked me what my thoughts were of this book, I was just like, it was just a mess. I enjoyed myself, but it was a mess. In the best possible way. So yeah, I feel like if that's your jam, then this is a book worth picking up. So yeah, those are my quick thoughts on Lucky Seed. Let me know down in the comments below if you read this book and what your thoughts were on it, or if you have any book recommendations that are kind of like similar in this vein, where things are kind of like messy and silly. Like I feel like I try to read lighthearted books sometimes, and it just, they don't work for me. But like for some reason this one did, and I can't quite tell you why. Maybe it was just the right book at the right moment. So yeah, that's all I have for now, and thanks for watching.